What's up, boys? Taking a look at some more NFL player props today over on prizepicks. So we have a pretty crappy slate today, not gonna lie. You can't expect too much from the Bears and the Commanders. However, we've been on some huge runs over on the Patreon and both in these videos. So if you guys are interested in joining the Patreon for access to all of my plays, the link is down in the description below. Otherwise, in this video, I'll be giving you guys some of my free plays that you guys can use if you guys want. Till you run risk of getting these more on your own. But if you guys are not on prizepicks, make sure you guys join 100% deposit match up to $100 when you guys use my code DOMG. And if you guys do join, you guys can get this free square right now, which is Steph Curry at half a point against the Lakers on Tuesday. Next Tuesday, the NBA starts. Curry is at half a point. So you guys can pair something with Curry. You guys compare Justin Fields over passing yards if you guys want with Steph Curry on prizepicks, and if Justin Fields hits, then you guys get your winning. But anyways, we're talking about some NFL today, so we'll hop in and talk about our player prop. But back to the Patreon, the link is down in the description below. There are 3 different options: NFL, NBA, and all sports. Some statistics on how we've been on the Patreon recently. So last week we swept Thursday Night Football. The week before that we also swept Thursday Night Football. So we're coming off of back-to-back sweeps on Thursday Night Football, I do believe. I think it was week 3 where we swept Thursday Night Football, and we swept last week as well in week 4. We should have swept Monday Night Football as well. We only had 1 L over on the Patreon, which was on the hook last Monday. We only had 1 L on the Patreon for Monday. It was on the hook. It was last of my rankings and only half a unit. So the top 3 ended up pushing or hitting. So that was pretty good on Monday. But last week for week 4, we were 11-3-1. So 11-3-1 last week in week 4 for NFL. And the NBA tier will be starting on October 18th. So all sports for $15.99 starting October 18th. You guys will get NFL and NBA. If you guys join now, though, you still get access to NFL, or you guys can just get NFL for $10.99 if you guys want, or just NBA for $11.99. So anyways, enough about talking about that. Just make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, leave a like, also turn on post notifications so you guys do not miss the Sunday slate video coming on, I believe, Saturday. So the prop I like is going to be in receiving yards, and it's going to be David Montgomery over 16.5. Patreon got a lot of good value because they were able to get this prop at 14.5 for a good while, and it got bumped up to 16.5. However, I still like this spot because he was a minus 140 to go over 14.5. Yet he's 16.5 on prizepicks because they unfortunately bumped him. But there's just tons of value all the time on the prizepicks board. I'm telling you guys, Patreon definitely knows it. I show you guys a ton of value over there usually. But he's hit this in 65% of games between this season and last season. He's coming off a 62 receiving yards last game. I also do like 2 receptions. He is on the board at 2 receptions as well. So we type in Montgomery here in the search bar. So Montgomery here, he is at 2 receptions. Where'd he go? I accidentally took it out. Here, come on. Montgomery. There we go. So Montgomery here, he's at 2 receptions. He's at 16.5 receiving yards. I feel like if he gets 2 receptions, he's going to go over 16.5 receiving yards. However, that's not always how it works. But I do like the spot for him, though, here for sure. 62 last game against Minnesota. He has hit his receptions in a pretty good amount of games, though. He had 0 against Houston, but that's the game he got injured. Like he had 0 receiving yards against Houston, so that game he actually didn't even play in. But, you know, he's at least pushed in most of these games here. So, you know, receptions is also a good look if you guys would rather play that. I personally am going with receiving yards, though. A lot of running backs have done pretty solid in the receiving game against Washington so far this season. So, there's a lot of reasons why I am liking this prop. But the odds are pretty good, especially at 14.5. But it is now 16.5 on the prizepicks board. Plenty of other plays over on the Patreon. But, yeah, let's take a look at Dave Montgomery's game log here. So, we're going to take a look at his receiving game log here. So if you guys can see right up here. So 62 receiving yards here on 4 receptions last game. He had nothing against Houston. He only had 3 attempts because he got injured. He had 14 receiving yards against Green Bay on 2 catches with 2 targets. 4 targets here against the 49ers. He had 24 receiving yards, so he did go over that with 3 receptions, averaging he averaged 8 yards per reception in that game. 3 targets, 2 receptions, 7 yards. So that one, you know, Minnesota. I don't know, you can go with either if you guys are looking at them. That was last season, though, so we're only focused on this season, really. But, yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Let me know what you guys are running with today if you guys want. Let's talk about some leans and things like that. But this slate is really, really ugly, in my opinion. There's a lot of things I really do not like on this slate, I will say. I think the interception props are definitely a little bit interesting. I feel like one of these guys throw an interception. Wentz has definitely been throwing a lot more lately. The only game where he didn't throw an interception was against Philadelphia, actually, his old team. Fields has kind of slowed down with the interceptions. Usually I would like Fields' interceptions, especially against a tougher Washington defense. But also the defense here for the Chicago Bears, their defense is actually a little bit stingier, and they have actually gotten some interceptions. I believe the only quarterback they have not picked off this year was Daniel Jones and Aaron Rodgers, but Daniel Jones didn't play the whole game. So against, they actually picked off Tyrod Taylor, the other Giants quarterback in that game. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers doesn't throw interceptions, and he also owns the Bears. So, you know, But anyways, I think Wentz could definitely throw an interception today. The odds are favoring the over, but it's not something I'm playing. Kind of just a lean for me, I guess, if you want to call it that. You got rushing attempts on the board right here. Fields has gone under or pushed, I believe. I think he missed against Houston. If I'm not wrong, I think that was wrong right there. Justin Fields game log. Maybe I'm the one that's wrong. We got to put in rushing. Rushing. We find out how many attempts he had. Rushing attempts. Yeah, see. Okay, so against Houston, he only 8 attempts. It says right here he had 9, but that's not true. But he's at least pushed or gone under in every game this season. That's somewhat of an interesting prop, I guess. I'm not necessarily playing the over or the under, but passing yards here. Okay. Something I want to talk about with Wentz right here, though. If you guys are thinking about taking Carson Wentz, be cautious because there's a reason why he's this low. So you guys can see, you see this hit rate. It's like, it looks beautiful, right? 25, 25, 25, 30, and 27. I've seen people post, you know, everywhere talking about how this is like a great play and all that. I'm not saying Carson Wentz is not going to hit. I've seen a lot of people playing this prop, and I don't necessarily agree with it because Carson Wentz, he's coming off a bicep injury. So he's got a bicep injury to his right shoulder, his throwing shoulder, as far as I know. That's what I saw reports on. That is why he is this low. So you gotta at least look up the player's name and then go to the news section on Google. If you see a prop like this, come on, he has not even come close to 20.5 really so far this season. He's going against the Bears defense, which isn't anything like too special. So Carson Wentz, there's a reason why he is this low, and it's because he's coming off of a bicep injury. So for completions, passing attempts as well, I mean, just look at how many times he's gone over this. They're going to be running the ball a little bit more, which is why I have a certain play over on the Patreon. But passing yards too, he's been going over against like Tennessee at 359. But again, he's got a bicep injury. I'm not saying he's not going to hit. I'm not saying he's not going to hit. I'm definitely not saying that. But there's just a reason why he is this low. It's not as good as it may seem. So keep that in mind. I'm telling you guys gotta, if you see a prop like that, man, you gotta at least look up the player's name and look at their injuries, because I guarantee you when a prop looks like that, you know, there's probably something going on a little bit. But there's some interesting props here too. Like, I'm really interested in JD McKissick, but I'm not playing McKissick here. Like, the odds are good on this too. The odds on JD McKissick are pretty solid as well, but it's not something I'm personally playing because I'm still scared Brian Robinson is back, even though he had 5 receptions last week. But they have JD McKissick now. Washington has Antonio Gibson. They have Brian Robinson. They have those 3 running backs. He still had 5 catches last week, but it's something that's definitely interested. But I'm just worried about Brian Robinson being back still. I definitely think he can go over, but I'm just a little bit, I guess, scared to play it. But Cole Kmet, 3 receptions. He's definitely been trending upwards a little bit after, you know, 2 duds of a game right there. Curtis Samuel at 5 receptions. I saw a lot of people take him at 4.5 on the over. I don't really have too much of an opinion on that. I don't mind it. McLaurin over 4 receptions is somewhat interesting to me. Montgomery over 2 receptions. We kind of already talked about that one just a little bit. I am kind of liking Montgomery receptions as well. But that's pretty much going to do it, man. I didn't even pull up this earlier, but the over-under on the game is 38. The line is -115. Spread is Washington -5. But the Patreon is available if you guys want. The link is down in the description below. Thank you guys for waiting until the end of the video and watching throughout. But the NFL, NBA, and all sports tiers are down in the description below over on the Patreon. You guys can join if you guys want. That's going to do it. Appreciate watching. I'll see you guys next one. Peace out, boys. Like the video, subscribe, and also turn on those post notifications.